Hello, folks. So, I'm Kalyani. I'm a technical writer at Red Hat. I started my technical writing journey as an intern, and since then, I've been loving documenting all the products, all the projects, and I'm an open source contributor here. And I'm obsessed with Fruit Loops, if you are aware of the cereals. And yes, I have literally tried the strawberry shampoo, and it does not taste as good as it smells. So yeah. So
So
he's my
hi,
co-speaker.
I'm Yash Guddeti, and I'm also a technical writer. I don't know how many of have you seen the Game of Thrones, but it is just straight out of Game of Thrones reference. Uh, I'm kind of twinning with Jon Snow because I also know nothing because I'm always learning about everything that comes on my way.
So yeah, some sort of like fun facts here. So 90% of that developers say that good documentation is more important than having a code sample. So yes, we know documentation is important. If there is a confusing documentation, there are confusing users. So yeah, that's the only key. And that's our job to make the documentation more crisp and clear and make it consistent. So yeah. Yes, I hope you have had all lunch, and don't worry, we are not going to bore you with the extensive agenda. So this is what we are going to discuss today. So yeah, let's proceed.
So something about us. So we are technical writers, and I assume all of you have purchased any product in your lifetime. So you get documentation or manual with any product that you purchase, which obviously we all ignore, but we shouldn't be. And that is what we write. But in this context, we write documentations regarding software products, and there is a product and there are consumers. So in between bridging the gap, we are there, to convert the technical knowledge into layman terms to make it easy to make it understand to everybody else. Yeah. So in addition to what I said earlier, so documentation is the first user experience, and projects with clear, thorough documentation see a 50% increase in user documentation. So any project or any repo which has clear or concise documentation is, sees 50% increase in user adoption because it is easier to understand. And confusing docs is equal to confusing users. So yeah, so basically it is what it is. And good documentation is the best support you can provide. Users abandon tools projects due to frustration. We all have, been in such situations where we face where the documentation is not precise or up to the mark. So we, leave the product or project in the middle of when we are working. So yeah, that happens. And good documentation is a project's silent ambassador. So yeah.
Yes. Okay. So yes. So before we start with this particular slide, can anyone tell me what is open source? Do you have any idea about open source? Yes. That's correct. Yes. So basically, open source is when people share their code for free. This means anyone can use their code, anyone can tweak their code, anyone can beautify their code, and here it's like sharing the recipe of cake. Like I usually relate it like sharing the recipe of cake because anyone can use the recipe, change the ingredient to make it more tasty and fluffy, and share their new version with others. So yeah. So basically, we write it, we can change it, and we own it. So why contribute to open source here? I would suggest, I'll go with my experience is you can improve your skills by sharing your knowledge, by contributing to open source. You can build and expand your network. It is helpful to build your profile or portfolio as well. And you can also opt for some paid open source projects, which is like Google Summer of Codes as well. And you can get, if you are like uh, a frequent contributor into the open source, you can get recommendations and referrals. Yes. Okay. I need to stand up. So yeah, I'll. So here, we have designed this workflow with the example of butterfly here. So first, I'm assuming you all are familiar with Git and GitHub. So this is the basic procedure, like the very first procedure you can start. It is like fork. So this is the initial copy of your project. You need to fork it, and then you have to make your clone so that you can play around in your project, and you can then edit the necessary changes. You can beautify it, you can edit it however you want, and then you need to create the pull request to submit the changes, to review your changes, and then there's a review process. There are like repository maintainers, there are few of the developers, they can review your code, your documents, and again, then the final project is you can merge it. How to find the right project here? So we have sorted down few, so yeah, how to find it? So finding the right open source project is like dating. You need to find a right fit for it. So you wouldn't date someone who like ghosts you. So yeah, so don't pick a project that's no longer maintained. So first you need to find your type here. You have to choose the project that are actively maintained and have regular updates and more likely to accept and review. Why? Because you'll get more recognition over there for your contribution. And there are some beginner-friendly issues. You can go ahead in your GitHub repository and find for the labels good first issue or help wanted, because these are well explained and they are great for beginners. The next one is doc gaps and improvement opportunities. You have to look for projects with incomplete and outdated, confusing documentation. So it is the golden opportunity for you to contribute in open source, and you can always start. So documentation is the only way here where you do not need to have the knowledge of code. Okay, done. We have noted it down. Your name? Parth. Okay. Thank you. So where to look? So these are some projects we have sorted it out. Later on, you can go ahead and scan it to start your contribution. These are like very few, some basic courses. You can start with fixing a small typo, adding a small procedure, or simply reviewing it. So you just need an initial step for it, basically. Yeah. Yash will take over.
Yeah, so collaborations and contributions. So why should we contribute to open source? So open source thrives on collaboration. Basically, contribution is the heart of open source and community. So you can start by joining discussions on GitHub, Discord, or any community forums anywhere available on the internet. And then you can introduce yourself in the communities. You'll be surprised by how welcoming the communities are. And you should always be polite and respectful to others in the community, even when disagreeing. So even when you are providing any feedback on anything, you should always provide constructive criticism and feedback so that they can, work it without being offended. So, yeah. So contribution to open source is not just limited to documentation or coding. You can contribute to open source according to the skill you possess. So we have provided some information here, like you can contribute to open source by, design and UX. You can uh, contribute by localization, translation, onboarding, community support, and every other skill that you have, you can just go and ask the owner of the repository that I want to contribute, and you can contribute. So yeah. So
Yeah, that was quick. So we are open for questions here,
yeah.
if you have.
Any exam, any examples of communities or projects that you have recently contributed to in terms of documentation?
Yes, I do have it. Yes, I'm currently contributing for, I used to contribute for Cogito, and right now I'm contributing for serverless workflow. It is an upstream project. So I'm currently maintaining their docs and bringing it down for the product, for the Red Hat's product documentation.
Any chance you have written a document on how to, like how you came about contributing to
I
the
am
said
currently
project?
working on it. No, right now I do not have that particular doc, but I'll be writing a blog on it. Thank you so much for the idea. Though. Yeah.
Do you need any special skills when you're contributing to documentation? Obviously, like you should be a good technical writer, but around like knowledge of ASCII docs or Markdown, or like, do you think that is a blocker for people to enter?
Actually, yes, that's an added advantage. If you know Markdown, if you know HTML or XML, or if you are aware of ASCII doc, then sure you can. But otherwise, I have seen some issues or pull requests. They are like the sizes of pull request is like XS or S, and the changes are like fixing a typo or changing a simple step. So for that, no, you just need your uh, like grammar should be right, and then English. That's it. I don't think apart from that you need anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions? I think we can wrap up. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.